Hi everyone, my name is Erik Adler. I'm a fantasy novelist and a teacher, and today I'd like to talk to you about C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe from 1950. I have here all the 7 books in the Narnia series in one volume, and I also have my old Narnia books which I read in Swedish translation as a child more than 30 years ago, and I already talked about the first book in the series, The Magician's Nephew, which was not the first book that C.S. Lewis wrote, but it's chronologically the first, dating before The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, because it's a prequel. So normally today it is being published as the first book. So these books, together with J.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings and Ursula K. Le Guin's Wizard of Earthsea and Susan Cooper's The Dark is Rising, was certainly the best part of my childhood, reading these. They had an enormous influence on my own writing. I started to write fantasy myself already as a child, and when I started writing again, like 4.5 years ago, after a long break of 17 years, something like that, I immediately started writing fantasy again. Although I also tried to write other things. I wanted to write a thriller, which turned out to become my first published book, White Lights, which is a fantasy novel in the genre of portal fantasy. And it has certain similarities with C.S. Lewis's Narnia books in that it is a portal fantasy about people from our world coming to magic fairyland where they experience different kinds of wonders. Although I'm writing for adults and there are not many other similarities with C.S. Lewis's books, I still remember these books very fondly as a very important part of my childhood. And now to this book. In 1940, 4 children, Peter, Susan, Edmund and Lucy Pevensey, are evacuated from London to escape the bombs. They are sent to the countryside to live with Professor Kirk. Exploring the house, Lucy finds a wardrobe, and when she enters it, she comes to the fairyland of Narnia. In Narnia, there has been winter for 100 years, but never Christmas, and the land is ruled by the evil Jadis, the White Witch. According to the law of deep magic established by the great emperor beyond the sea, Jadis has the right to a kill for every treachery committed in Narnia. But Aslan the lion, the wise and good creator of Narnia, who is the son of the emperor, the father in Christianity, sacrifices himself to save Edmund. The stone table which was used for the sacrifice breaks, symbolizing Mosaic law being replaced by God's forgiveness, and Aslan returns from the dead to fight Jadis, the devil, a theme also found in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. As in the case of Jesus, as told in the Gospels, those who find the dead Aslan and are the first to see him after his resurrection are women, namely Susan and Lucy. In Christianity, Jesus is associated with a lion, among other things. The professor's response to the 2 older children's telling him about Lucy's claim to have been to Narnia, that since Lucy is clearly not mad, and since she is not known to be a liar, her story must be true, however fantastic, mirrors Lewis's view of Jesus, taken from G.K. Chesterton. Jesus was either mad or the Son of God. Except for Christianity, Lewis also found inspiration in Norse and in Greek mythology. The eternal winter in Narnia resembles the Fimbul winter in Norse mythology, preceding the end of the world, and the creatures in Narnia derive partly from Norse, partly from Greek mythology. The book is partly based on Lewis's own experiences. In September 1939, 3 schoolgirls came to live with Lewis at his house, The Kilns, east of Oxford. This, together with a picture of a faun that Lewis had had in his mind for many years, gave him the idea for the book. He was also inspired by a story by Edith Nesbit about a girl entering a wardrobe leading to a magic place. There are certain similarities between Aslan and the White Witch on the one hand, and the professor and his female housekeeper, Mrs. Macready, on the other. Like Jadis, the housekeeper rules the house like a dictator, whereas the professor is a wise old man who is rarely seen, just like Aslan. Lewis lived for many years with a much older and very controlling woman, Mrs. Moore, whose name mirrors that of the housekeeper in the book. The style in The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is similar to that of The Magician's Nephew. Lewis uses the same friendly and chatty tone, and on a few occasions the text is repetitive. Here as well, the children behave more like adults than like children. When they make friends again, they shake hands, and they immediately set out to save the faun after they realize he has been arrested by the secret police of Narnia, although the faun has warned Lucy of the dangers of opposing the White Witch. Lewis probably did not have much experience of children, since he had no children of his own. In addition, a few things seem illogical to an adult reader, as where the faun and the beavers get their bread, their potatoes and their sugar from, if there is always winter. There is no explanation for the prophecy and the 4 thrones in the castle, and Jadis doesn't kill Edmund after having captured him, although this would prevent the fulfillment of the prophecy, which threatens her power. Aslan the lion obviously has hands, since he can hold a sword. Jadis's background is here described somewhat differently than in The Magician's Nephew. Here she is a descendant of the Jinn, originating from Adam's first wife, Lilith, and on the other side from the giants, we are told. Some things are similar to Tolkien's Middle-earth. The trees are listening to what the children are saying, and there are creatures similar to Tolkien's wargs. This is, like The Magician's Nephew, a very exciting and fun and heartwarming children's story, although I must say on a reread I liked The Magician's Nephew a little bit more. It was a little bit more philosophical, I thought, and I was also a little bit troubled by the death of Aslan, because it had a certain element of masochism to it, which I think is inherent in Christianity as well. The Muslims, I believe, do not think that the one who died on the cross was Jesus, but another man. Because if Jesus is God, God cannot be killed and executed on the cross or otherwise. And I think this has something to it, although I'm not a religious person. The thought that a god could be sacrificed and executed has something disgusting about it, I think, in a way. And you have it in this book, and you have it in Christianity, and it's something that I think a lot of Christians don't really want to think about. There was this movie, The Passion of the Christ, by Mel Gibson a few years ago, and I watched this and I talked about the movie, with a working colleague of mine at that time who was a Christian, and he had absolutely no problems with the fact that Jesus is being tortured very severely in the movie. And he said that since he was the Son of God, then probably he was stronger than other men and he could stand that much punishment. He didn't seem to care about it at all. It wasn't really a problem to him. And I had the feeling that for many Christians, the fact that God sacrifices Jesus, who is a man, he may be God as well, but he is certainly a man, and he takes on himself all this punishment and suffering to release mankind from their sins. It has something masochistic which always troubled me, and you have it in this book as well. So I didn't really like this part. Except for that, I enjoyed the book a lot. It could have been longer, which I think is a good sign that you like a book if you wished it would have been longer, if you wished it wouldn't have come to an end that soon. Next time I will talk about the next book chronologically in the series, The Horse and Its Boy, which is very different from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe and The Magician's Nephew, and I look forward to talk about it with you. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation. Feel free to give me your comments below, to give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and of course you're welcome to subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you next time.